Whew. Today we are going to talk about comics news. And we're going to talk about DC, which is usually my beloved of the big twos, but apparently they too don't want customers. And it's insane because now you're complaining that the industry is dying and you keep wondering why. And then you do dumb things and you can't see that you're doing dumb things. So, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about two articles. And I got this news from watching Yellow Flash's channel or the Superman one. The Aquaman one, I didn't see it, but I saw the title and I thought, you know what? I need to look it up before I even bother watching the video. And why am I complaining about it? Well, because Superman is my favorite. Of all the superheroes that have been created, and this is in all of the comic book industry, Superman is a top dog to me. He is my absolute favorite. So it irritates me every time they give him to someone who does not understand who he is. And I've complained before about Brian Michael Bendis. And now I'm turning that complaint onto DC because if you let this man do what it looks like he's getting ready to do, and I'm talking about the supposed redefining, in quotations, of Superman and Lois's marriage. I never trusted Brian Michael Bendis. I hated every advertisement of Bendis coming, and I hated that they put Superman's face to Brian Michael Bendis coming, and I hated the fact that they kept threatening us with Brian Michael Bendis coming to DC and acting as if we were supposed to be excited. I hated looking at Brian Michael Bendis' Twitter account and him acting like he's actually going to do a good job with Superman. He's done a crappy job. I've never trusted, even when I wanted to give him a chance, because I've taken this wait and see kind of attitude when it comes to him, where I'm not giving my money anymore to these dumb comics. But I was going to wait and see. And then if it was going to turn out to surprise me, okay, then maybe I would buy in. But you know what? I am so glad I took that attitude and I didn't waste my money because right now, DC does not deserve anyone's money because they haven't learned their lesson and they're taking the same path that Marvel took. And the fact that they can't see that is part of the problem with all of these people. They need to get someone who understands business in there because these creative people don't know what they're doing. And it has nothing to do with their talent. Dan Didio and Jim Lee, super talented guys. But clearly, when you are hiring Brian Michael Bendis, who did a crappy job at Marvel, and you're touting him as if he's some great talent that we're supposed to be excited about, when he destroyed the character of Iron Man by not even putting Iron Man in his own comic and creating an extremely unlikable character in Ironheart. And then you put Kelly Sue DeConnick on Aquaman and you act like we're supposed to be excited about this. What is wrong with you people? Seriously, what is wrong with these people in the comic book industry? Well, I think it's easy. They're not thinking. They don't know what they're doing. And because this is kind of a complaint video, I guarantee this will be very short because there's only so much that I can handle. But essentially, what irritates me is the fact that I was actually reading the Aquaman comics because I actually enjoyed the art. I enjoyed what was done with him. And I'm reading Sully Sue. I'm reading the article. Sorry, I'm like so. Oh, I was reading the article at Polygon about Kelly Sue DeConnick, and essentially her idea of turning him more into Wonder Man than to Superman, and something about like, I mean, the fact that she's the one who relaunched, Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel, and looking how the travesty that is, and and then her stupid comic B Planet, because I'm not cussing. Just like even reading the article irritates me because it's the idea of, well, because Aquaman is white, we can't talk about him being mixed race because somehow white people are just white people, never mind the fact that there are different European cultures, and there is still kind of, when there's a mix, there's still kind of a where do I fit in kind of aspect. Like I find that completely insulting to say that everyone else gets to, you know, be quote unquote mixed and have problems, but white people can't have those same problems because white privilege, don't you know? And then her stupid, and this is coming from me as a writer, stupid quote about how for her, the question she always asks herself when approaching a character is, where does their pain come from? What is their core wound? And how is that played out in their power set? What does wounding have to do? Like this attitude that everyone has to be hurt. Yes, people have gone through hurt, but if you are writing your characters based on their pain and never them overcoming that pain, so that the pain that they went through doesn't matter, you are doing it wrong. Nobody wants to see Superman be Broody McBrewster and walking around moping about his pain all the time. So why Man of Steel isn't quite my favorite movie when it comes to Superman. Because that's not what you want Superman to do. You don't want the depressed superhero because that doesn't make them a superhero. And just clearly I'm upset. And I know it's more that I'm a little passionate about this because it is irritating. It makes me think to a degree of politics. And, where in the past, before I was engaged in looking at politicians and things like that, you know, I saw the Democratic Party for what they were early on, but I also saw the Republican Party for who they were as well. And, the hardest thing about that too is that, you're also relying on mainstream media. But we but it's like every time I would want to give the Republicans my vote, they would do something dumb and they would make it impossible for me to then vote for that person. And I'm talking in aspects of primaries. I think that people are really bad at choosing candidate. And it's because I think we're just, and I'm not really meaning this as an insult, but we're really just kind of a stupid people. We don't like to pay attention. And that's what I mean. I think we're so busy just trying to do what we want to do that we just let other people make decisions for us, and then we just deal with it or we complain about it, but we don't really get involved in it. And I see, what's going on at the big two as sort of the same. DC is doing dumb things now because we kept telling them as fans that at least you're not as bad as Marvel. I'm starting to really agree with that Umbrella guy about that. We can't have that attitude anymore because every time we start to give people a pass for the stupid decisions that they make, or when we begin to see some of the problems coming in, we're going to have problems. We're going to have problems. And I wanted to, oh, I'm so mad. And I'm so mad about the whole Superman thing. Like, you just don't even understand how mad I am about the Superman thing, because I will never forgive DC for hiring Brian Michael Bendis. Like, I'm just gonna say that out and out. I am never, even if you keep them married, just the fact that you thought that this would somehow get your readers engaged, it just upsets me too much, and I'm just done. And I can be done because I have so many Superman comics that I do enjoy, and I have some really, 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 really good ones, including the Byrne version of Man of Steel. And I would just rather read those for the rest of my life and pass those on to my children and whatnot than deal with Brian Michael Bendis doing Superman. If they get themselves together and they relaunch it with, good people, then maybe I would come back. But let's just be honest. Like right now, looking at what DC is doing with some of the comics that I've read, which also they also canceled Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, which was also something else that I was reading. So yeah, so I think the title of this is just going to be DC does not want anyone's money, because it's really looking that way. You can't keep making bad decisions and then think that's kind of the problem that I have with SJWs in the first place. And again, it's not to say that Dan Didio or Jim Lee are SJWs. I really don't believe they are. I think they're listening to SJWs, but I don't think they themselves are SJWs. The problem with SJWs is they really do believe that they can be terrible, terrible, villainous people and think that they're still entitled to fan money. Like we're supposed to just forever keep paying them to destroy our beloved characters. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I feel really bad because I love my local comic book shops here, but I haven't even been to them yet, since I've been back, and I just can't, because there's nothing that is making me really want to go there right now. Although there actually is, because I do want to finish up getting the Bane Conquest, because that was a very fun series. But I'm just like, DC, what are you doing? Like, I don't think they get to deserve to complain anymore about the industry shrinking, because it's sort of like, until you start listening to people and you take into account that the reason that you're shrinking is because you are not giving us what we want. And I'll give you a perfect example. Um, EVS did the Aloha Hour with, I think it was him doing the Aloha Hour with Mike Miller and Edward Boyette. And it was brought up the idea of if there would be a time where, there would be a passion project that EBS would want to do, you know, whether there was interest or not. And, EBS told the truth. He's like, we're hot dog vendors. We're burger vendors. And I hope I said vendors and not vendors. But he was absolutely right. The idea is if you don't want to make money, but you want to make art, then do just what you want to do and forget about what fans are looking for. But don't be surprised when it doesn't work, i.e., the Ghostbusters reboot, i.e., the Ocean's 11 reboot, i.e., what looking like is going to be the Terminator reboot. Give the fans everything they're not asking for. Certainly, i.e., The Last Jedi. Give fans none of what they want and call it art and then complain about them just not understanding your vision. But if you want to be successful and you want to be, you want a platform and you want people interested in what you're doing, then be a hot dog vendor. Give the people what they want, give them what they're asking for, and do it well, let it have quality, and go from there. Because it is insane to think that you can it's insane to think that you're owed people's money because it's what you want. And it's insane to drive your customers away by name calling them and acting as if the only reason they don't like your work is not because you're terrible at your craft, but it's solely because they are either racist, they are either sexist, misogynistic, they are whatever bad name you can come up with. This industry is becoming a problem. The writing industry has been a problem. But I don't think that people understand, certainly not the people in the industries. They don't understand that people have limited patience. And people understand that a lot of these hobbies are quite expensive. It's not really cheap to buy a book. It's not really cheap to buy comics. It's not cheap to go to the movie theater. And what's going to end up happening is people are going to start, well, they've already, because we can already see the trend of people starting to go away from these industries because they see the problem and they're responding with their wallet. And certainly that is always the best sort of protest that anyone can do. You hit these industries in their pocket and you let the free market do what it's going to do. And if they're not going to listen to their customers, they don't deserve to be in business. And I don't care how long they've been operating in business. That's just the way that it is. Give the customers what they want because it's the customers who are paying for your product, and you cannot function without those same customers. I'm done. And the video, not surprisingly, went on longer than I wanted it to, but that's okay. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, share on your social media, all of that. I plan, unless something else happens, comics and news wise, to do to do the Black Ops, because I did say that I wanted to talk about it in terms of visual storytelling, because I thought the visual storytelling in Black Ops was really good. So I plan to do that tomorrow unless something else comes up that needs to be addressed. And other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.